Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're talking about something everyone has, but maybe doesn't think about much. Your mindset. Think of it like the glasses you wear to see the world.
Right. And those glasses, your perspective, they color absolutely everything you experience.
Exactly. The interesting thing is the actual facts of your life, the events, they don't change.
They're constant. But how you feel about them, what you take away from them, that could be completely different.
It all depends on those inner glasses. If they're smudged with doubt or negativity, well, even good things can look kind of bleak.
But if you learn how to, let's say, clean those lenses, keep that perspective clear and strong,
Then suddenly you start seeing possibilities, maybe brighter outcomes. That's what we're really digging into today, how to maintain that clear, empowering outlook.
And it's important to say, this isn't about just, plastering on a smile and ignoring real problems.
No, definitely not.
It's about choosing a hopeful, maybe even courageous way to approach those problems. It gives you more power to deal with them effectively.
Okay, so let's get into the first big idea. It's foundational, really. Your mindset literally shapes your reality. What you believe inside affects your outside world.
It really does. There's that classic story, you often hear it in business circles, about the two shoe salesmen.
Ah, yes. Sent to a place where nobody wears shoes.
Exactly. So the point salesman calls back, totally defeated, disaster, nobody wears shoes here, zero market.
He sees a wall, a complete dead end,
But the second salesman sees the exact same situation.
and has the opposite reaction.
Completely. He's thrilled, calls back saying, incredible opportunity, nobody has shoes yet, the potential is huge.
Same facts, totally different mindset, leading to totally different actions. It really highlights perspective, doesn't it?
It really does, and it makes you wonder, about your own life. Have you ever been in a situation where you saw it one way and someone else saw it completely differently?
All the time. At work, home. What creates that difference?
It's how we process things. And it leads to what Brian Tracy said. You become what you think about most of the time.
That's powerful. So if you're always thinking about your limits,
I can't do that, I'm not good enough. You're basically training your brain to see obstacles. You might even hold yourself back without realizing it.
whereas if you shift that focus, if you start asking, okay, how can I do this? Or what skills do I need?
Then your brain starts looking for solutions, for pathways. It's like you're setting a new destination on your internal GPS.
I like that analogy. Okay, so building on that internal focus, let's talk about gratitude.
Gratitude. Think of it as like sunshine for your mind. It helps all the positive things flourish.
That's a lovely way to put it. It's so easy, though, isn't it, to focus on what we don't have?
Oh, absolutely. The things we want, the flaws we see. Why do you think we do that?
Maybe it's an old survival thing, noticing threats, unmet needs.
Could be. But today, it often means we just overlook all the good stuff that's already there. Even when things are tough, there's usually something. A friend, maybe, or a skill you have, or just waking up to a new day.
So here's something practical listeners can try. The 3 good things exercise.
Right. Before you sleep, just take a moment. Think of 3 things, big or small, from your day that you're grateful for. You can just think them or jot them down.
Does it really make a difference? That simple.
You'd be surprised. Consistently doing it, it gently shifts your focus from lack to abundance. And, the research actually backs this up.
Really? Like what?
Better sleep, stronger relationships, even better physical health have been linked to regular gratitude practice.
Wow, so it creates a kind of positive loop. Appreciating what you have makes you notice more good things.
Which gives you more to appreciate.
Exactly.
It builds on itself.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, let's shift gears slightly to the idea of a growth mindset. This is all about how we handle challenges, right?
Fundamentally, yes. How you view failure, setbacks. There are broadly 2 ways people approach this.
There's the fixed mindset. That's where failure feels like a final verdict on you.
Yeah, pretty much. I failed at this, so I guess I'm just not smart enough or not talented enough. It's very static.
And that leads to avoiding challenges.
Often, yes. Fear of looking bad, fear of criticism. You might give up easily because hitting a wall just confirms that negative self-view.
Okay, so what's the alternative? The growth mindset.
With a growth mindset, failure isn't the end of the story. It's just data. It's feedback.
An opportunity to learn.
Exactly. An opportunity to figure out what went wrong, adjust your strategy, and develop your skills. It's based on the idea that abilities aren't fixed. You can cultivate them. Carol Dweck's work here is really foundational.
It reminds me of watching a baby learn to walk.
Perfect example.
They fall down constantly. But they don't just lie there and think, well, walking's not for me.
Never. They just get back up, try again. That's natural resilience. That's the growth mindset in action. So where does that go when we get older?
Good question. I think maybe the fear of judgment creeps in. Past failures sting, so we become more cautious.
That's likely part of it. But we need to, as Denzel Washington put it, fall forward. Every failed attempt is actually a step closer to figuring it out. It shows you what doesn't work.
And speaking of falling forward, that story about Stephen King.
Oh, the rejection letters, yes.
Yeah.
Piles of them for his early writing.
But he didn't see them as proof he couldn't write.
Not at all. He saw them apparently as just part of the process. And what's key there is, sure, maybe he had talent, but it was that mindset, that belief he could improve, that persistence that really made the difference. Talent isn't always enough.
Right. The mindset was crucial. Okay, so we understand the power of our inner world. How do we start actively guiding it? Visualization seems like a powerful tool here.
It really can be. Think of it like mental rehearsal, creating a really detailed picture in your mind of what you want to achieve. It's like drawing the map before you start the journey.
So if I vividly imagine myself, say, acing a presentation, feeling confident, seeing the audience react positively, that actually helps.
Well, research suggests that when you visualize vividly, your brain activates similar neural pathways as if you were actually doing it.
Wow.
Yeah. So by engaging your senses in that mental picture, what you see, hear, feel, you're strengthening the mental blueprint. It makes your brain more ready to act in ways that achieve that goal. It boosts motivation too.
It makes sense why elite athletes use it so much. Olympic athletes, for instance.
Exactly. They're not just training their bodies, they're training their minds, visualizing that perfect performance over and over.
Mind-body connection right there.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be an athlete to do it.
Not at all. It's simple. Just take a couple of minutes each day, close your eyes, really immerse yourself in the feeling, the sights, the sounds of achieving that goal.
Make it as real as possible in your mind.
The more vivid, the better. Your subconscious starts to align with that vision. It's subtle, but powerful.
Okay, visualization. Now, building on that, let's talk about positive affirmations, the actual words we use.
Yes, the words we tell ourselves, they're like seeds, you know? What you plant tends to grow.
So negative self-talk, I'm not smart enough, I always mess up. Those are like planting weeds.
Pretty much. If you repeat them enough, they take root as limiting beliefs. They chip away at your confidence.
But we can choose different seeds. We can use positive affirmations.
Exactly. Deliberately choosing and repeating statements like, I am capable, I am learning and growing, I can handle this. It starts to challenge those old negative tracks.
What makes them work? Just repeating them.
Consistency helps, but also conviction. Saying them out loud with feeling can be more powerful than just thinking them. Hearing it in your own voice makes it sink in more.
Like programming yourself, in a way.
You could say that. And simple things help, like writing them on sticky notes. Put them where you'll see them often mirror, desk.
Visual reminders. Good idea. Is there a particularly good one to start with?
One I like is, I am becoming better and stronger every day. It's not about pretending everything's perfect now.
Right. It acknowledges the process.
Exactly. It's about building that belief in your own growth. Like an acorn becoming an oak tree. It takes time and nurturing, but the potential is there. Consistent, positive self-talk nurtures that inner strength.
Okay, affirmations. But life isn't always smooth sailing, is it? Challenges happen. So resilience becomes really important.
Absolutely crucial. It's not if challenges come, it's when. Building resilience is like building muscle. It takes practice, consistent effort.
I like the image of a tree with deep roots. Storms come, but the deep roots hold it firm.
That's a great metaphor. So what are those roots for us? How do we build them?
Well, several things seem key. Self-care is huge: rest, good food, things that recharge you.
Definitely. And having a support network, people you can lean on, that's vital.
Also, developing a problem-solving focus. Looking for solutions, not just dwelling on the problem.
And maintaining hope. Believing that difficulties are temporary, that you can get through them. That makes a huge difference in how quickly you bounce back.
You mentioned earlier you had a big computer crash during a project. How did resilience help there?
Yes. Well, the initial reaction was, panic. But then I consciously tried to apply those principles. Took a break to calm down self-care.
Okay.
Reached out to a tech-savvy colleague support network, focused on steps to recover the data problem solving, and just kept telling myself, okay, there's a solution here somewhere, Hope.
And it worked out.
It did. We actually ended up with a better backup system afterwards. So it reinforced that resilience isn't about avoiding setbacks. It's about recovering effectively, getting back up.
It ties into that idea of pressure making diamonds, doesn't it? Difficult times can actually shape us, make us stronger.
Well said.
Hmm.
Now, linked to support networks is our next point. The importance of surrounding yourself with positivity. The people around us matter.
Like gardeners for our minds. Some help us grow, others maybe not so much.
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
We need to be mindful of the energy we're absorbing. Negativity can be really contagious.
So if you're constantly around people who are pessimistic or critical,
It can start to wear you down, drain your own optimism, often without you even noticing. But the flip side is also true.
being around positive, supportive people can lift you up.
Absolutely. People who believe in you, who encourage you, that's incredibly motivating. So choosing your inner circle wisely is pretty important for your own mindset.
And this doesn't mean you have to cut off everyone who's ever negative, right? Life happens.
No, not at all. It's more about being aware of the dominant influences. Protect your energy. You can support someone going through a hard time without letting their negativity completely overwhelm you.
Okay, that makes sense. Managing external influences. But what about the internal ones? Those negative thoughts that pop up automatically?
Right. Challenging negative thought patterns. Our minds are amazing machines, but sometimes they run on old, unhelpful software. Automatic negative thoughts.
Like mental habits. I'm not good enough. That will never work. I'll probably fail. They can feel very real.
They can. But the first crucial step is realizing you are not your thoughts. You're the one observing the thoughts.
Creating some distance.
Exactly. That distance gives you the power to question them instead of just accepting them as fact.
So how do you actually do that? When a negative thought comes up, what's the process?
Simple method is to just pause. Catch the thought. Then ask yourself, is this thought actually true? What's the real evidence for it?
Okay.
Is it based on facts or just feelings or assumptions? Is there any other way to look at this situation? What would I say to a friend thinking this?
That questioning process really dissects it. So if I think I'm terrible at public speaking,
You'd ask, okay, what's the evidence? Have I always failed? Have I prepared? Have I had any successes, even small ones? Often you find the thought is mostly anxiety, not reality.
right, it loses its power when you examine it.
Precisely. It connects to what Tony Robbins says, where focus goes, energy flows. If you focus on the negative thought, you give it energy. Challenge it, shift your focus.
And you redirect that energy towards something more constructive, like solutions or your strengths.
Exactly. There's that wonderful Native American story about the two wolves inside us.
Ah, yes, the battle between them.
One is negativity, fear, anger, doubt. The other is positivity, joy, hope, courage. And the grandfather explains.
The one that wins is the one you feed.
Right. Our thoughts are how we feed those wolves. So we have a choice which one we nourish.
Consciously feeding the positive wolf. I like that. Okay, so we've cultivated the inner landscape, but positivity alone isn't enough, right? We need action.
Absolutely essential. Positive thinking sets the stage, but action is what makes things happen. You can't just wish your goals into existence.
But it's easy to get stuck waiting for the perfect time or until we feel 100% ready.
Oh, the perfect moment trap. We've all been there. But the truth is, you rarely feel totally ready.
So the secret is just start anyway.
Pretty much. You don't have to be ready to begin. Often, taking that first step, however small or imperfect, is what builds momentum and confidence.
Like if you want to write a book, just write one paragraph today.
Exactly. Or want to get fit, just take a 10-minute walk. Want a new job, just spend 15 minutes updating your resume. Small steps matter hugely.
Because they add up over time.
Think about building a house. It's brick by brick. Each brick seems small, but eventually you have a whole structure. Success is usually built the same way, consistent small actions.
Is there a trick to getting started when you feel overwhelmed?
A good one is the 5-minute rule. If a task feels too big, just commit to doing it for only 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes.
Just 5. What often happens is once you start, you get into it and keep going. Breaking that initial inertia is often the hardest part.
That's a great practical tip. Okay, so we're taking action. What's the final piece of the puzzle?
Celebrating your progress, big and small. This is so important for keeping motivation high.
We often forget this, don't we? We're so focused on the finish line, we don't acknowledge the steps we took to get there.
We really do.
Yeah.
But celebrating those milestones, those small wins, reinforces the positive behavior. It tells your brain, hey, this is good, keep going.
So finishing a workout, reading a chapter, facing a small fear. Those are all worth celebrating.
Absolutely. And celebrating doesn't have to be a huge party.
Right. It could just be.
A quiet moment of acknowledgement, a mental pat on the back, telling yourself, good job. Maybe sharing it with someone supportive. Simple things.
Like in the garden analogy again, you don't just wait for the harvest.
Exactly. You celebrate the first sprouts, the first flower. Every bit of growth is worth appreciating on the journey.
So it's the consistent action plus celebrating the progress that really drives results.
That seems to be the powerful combination. So just to wrap up our deep dive today,
Let's recap quickly.
we looked at how your mindset shapes reality, the power of gratitude, the importance of a growth mindset over a fixed one.
Using visualization and positive affirmations, building that inner resilience.
Surrounding yourself with positive influences, learning to challenge those negative thoughts.
The absolute necessity of taking action, even small steps, and finally remembering to celebrate your progress along the way.
And the core message, really, is that so much of what you need is already inside you.
That potential, that ability to shift perspective.
Exactly. It's not about being perfect. It's about consistent effort, moving forward with, hope and a bit of courage.
So, as you go about your day after listening, maybe take a second. Think about those mindset glasses we talked about.
Which part of your lens might need a little cleaning today?
And perhaps more importantly, what's one small thing, one tiny action you could take right now to start polishing that perspective? Something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us.